One, two, three, four.
So hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast on drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. And I'm Dave, and I'm in the Dopey studio, and I'm incredibly excited. We're joined by a serious legend, a serious Dopey legend, and a serious TV star. He was Hobie Buchanan on Baywatch, and he's got a fucking crazy story. His name is Jeremy Jackson. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you having me on. I love your little studio, dude. It looks super chill in there, man.
Well, you should see the other side of the camera. It's like boxes and garbage, and it's a train wreck. But this is like
everybody. Life's all about perception, anyway, dude. On the other side doesn't matter. It's just what people see, right?
Exactly. And you're sober coaching, you're fucking training, you're chefing, you're activities director at a rehab now. You're doing all that shit now, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was doing the rehab stuff for a long time, leading breathwork meditations and fitness stuff and nutrition groups and all that stuff. I'm not working with any facilities right now. Did the private chef thing for a long time for a buddy of mine in recovery. You know how it is, man. When you're in recovery, you just you're doing the deal. You can't lose. I mean, there's always a different job, always a place to go, always room to grow. People looking to help you out. So it's been pretty easy.
And you are a classic child star, and you got into the business like before you got into using, right?
Yeah. However, and I've known I was an addict from a freaking way before I discovered drugs and alcohol, man. I mean, I was mixing chemicals together before I ever partied. I was cigarettes and nail polish remover, huffing Pine Sol and rubbing alcohol and bleach mixed together. I was pretty freaking experimental, dude.
When were you smoking cigarettes with nail polish remover?
Well, I about 10, maybe 9. But I was mixing chemicals together. My first drug, you want to hear my first drug?
Yeah.
I would stick bobby pins, tweezers, butter knives, forks, anything I could get. I would shove in electric sockets just to get a little rush. One day I stuck a bobby pin in the dryer outlet, and I blew my little ass across the room. I was still in diapers, dude. I had to climb up on the dryer, and I was like, I wonder what this one does. I think because I had blown out all the sockets in the house already.
Right.
And I literally shot myself like 6 feet across the room.
Do you remember the feeling of getting shocked?
I remember more so what I remember. This is actually really fucking interesting. If you want to like dig into this, more so what I remember is the excitement of doing what I wasn't supposed to do behind someone's back, and wondering if I changed the mechanism or the device in which I was sticking in the outlet, if it would work still, or if I would get hurt, or if it would leave less of a big black mark on the wall, or if it would actually shock me. That it was more of the curiosity if I could do the bad thing in a different way and not suffer the ramifications of my action.
The consequences are always never our friends.
Yeah.
So this is a stupid question, because if you're sticking bobby pins in an outlet in your diapers, do you remember the last time you did it? Like how
was my bottom, my outlet bottom?
Your electricity bottom?
Yeah, it was definitely the dryer outlet. After my hair was standing on end and I got shot across the room, that's when I decided to put the plug in the jug, so to speak, with electricity.
Yes, with electricity.
And I think I moved on to fire. Yep, that was my next drug was fire.
And I'm interested in this for some reason. When I was a kid, I didn't do drugs as a young person. I didn't really do drugs until I was a late teen, and I didn't become an addict, really serious addict, until my early 20s. But I would play with fire too. Like I grew up in Manhattan. I would set things on fire and throw them out the window. We would like microwave shit with gold on it so that there'd be lightning storms in the microwave, which is normal kid shit. What was your fire thing?
You know, it was like just in the house, paper towel balls and, you know, just little experiments and projects of what would or wouldn't. I do remember, however, you know, when you would go to restaurants back when I was a kid, you could get a free pack of matches, you know? So I saved up just hundreds of books of matches and I cut all the tips off the matches and I like hot glue stick this little box together and I made like a matchstick bomb. Probably shouldn't have done that stuff in the house.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been better outside. One time I put a pin in the stove fire and it got so hot that it exploded ink all over the wall. You know, that was like hard stuff to explain to mom.
Right. And you were acting
ink all over her kitchen.
Yeah, well you showed who you were early and you were like a sweet kid too. And was it your mom's dream or were you like, I want to do this?
You know, I was obsessed. Well, my next drug after that was approval, you know, and I didn't have a dad. I had a single mom, and my mom was kind of led a very sheltered, very strict Christian life, you know. So she wasn't in the entertainment industry. She didn't push me to be an actor. She wasn't one of those stage moms that had experience. We didn't live in LA. We lived in Orange County. However, you know, I discovered singing, dancing, just being a jokester, doing dress up, and you know, people that put a smile on people's face. I'd get a round of applause, cute kid, whatever, good job, kid, and I love that. So I became obsessed with how I could get more of that on a grander scale, just like we do with just about anything in our life, to fill that God-shaped hole. And it worked for a long time, and because I am such an extremist and obsessive compulsive, I would work on my craft for hours and hours and hours, lock myself in the bedroom. I had a karaoke machine that had a play and a stop and a record, and I could do my own little radio shows and do imitations and practice dance moves. And then anytime I had an audience, you know, it was all attention on me and, you know, selfishness and self-centeredness. That is the core of my issue. And if everything is going my way and I'm getting what I want and everybody's pleased, boy, life sure seems to be enjoyable.
until it goes away and then you need it again, you know?
Yes. Yep.
And when was Baywatch? You did a few commercials and stuff before that?
Yeah. So I started acting when I was 6. I did about 30 big commercials, national commercials. I did about 60 little gigs by the age of 6 and 10. And 10 years old was when I got Baywatch. Actually, I was 9 when I got Baywatch. We didn't start filming until I was 10. But, you know, back then I had no clue it was going to be the #1 TV show in the world. It was going to be some big hit sensation. It was just really cool for me because I grew up idolizing Knight Rider, you know, and it was on the beach. So it was very close to home with who I was personally. It wasn't much of a stretch.
I love Knight Rider so much. Like, I can't even tell you how much I love that show. Just that intro, the intro. And the A-Team and Knight Rider and the Dukes of Hazzard, like that shit fucked us up. Like it was so exciting, you know?
Yeah. What was the other? It was more air. It was like I think Michael Dudikoff was in it or something. There was another show around that time that was really dope.
Airwolf.
Airwolf. That was another one. Airwolf and Knight Rider. Those were my go-to.
What was the one? There was one around then. It wasn't Airwolf. It was like a team, and the helicopter had a face painted on the side of the face, on the side of the helicopter. It was a classic 80s action show. Greatest American Hero. No, it wasn't the Greatest American Hero. Doesn't matter. Forgive me. But I mean, like, I have to ask you, just as a television fan, what was David Hasselhoff like working with?
It was cool. I mean, before I got Baywatch, I went to Universal Studios, like as a fan, stand in the line to sit in kit, you know? And pretty trippy looking back because I was inside of kit. I think I must have been 7 or 8 years old. You know, it was like my dream come true, and I was talking to Kit. You know, back then they used to have a live guy that would talk to you. And fucking David Hasselhoff, what happened to be at Universal Studios, and he ran by, and my mom was like, Jeremy, look, it's him. And I was in Kit seeing Knight Rider at the same time, and it was just, my mind was freaking blown. I mean, I had a Kit big wheel, you know, the little 2-handle deal. And super fan, man. I watched in my car seat, you know, it was like my favorite thing to do. So working with him was a really big deal. I idolized him. This kind of sums up David, you know, when I got Baywatch, it was between me and Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay.
Right.
So they had auditioned like 1,000 kids. And I remember they called Leonardo DiCaprio in like 3 or 4 times already, but they called him in and he came out really quick. And then they called me in and I came out really quick. And what that was what David did is he picked up Leonardo DiCaprio to see how heavy he was. And then he picked me up to see how heavy I was, because it was very important for him to look and feel strong picking up his kid. And he wanted the lightest kid so he could look like be a superhero and be, you know, Michael Knight. And that was kind of one of the deciding factors, because I was lighter than Leonardo and easier to pick up.
Well, there you go. That's awesome. And you said around the same time, right? Well, I mean, the rest is history. And you said at the same time you had smoked cigarettes with nail polish around the same age.
Yeah, I knew that nail polish had this like aroma, nail polish remover back then, you know, acetone and whatever other crap they put in it, but mostly the acetone, which I worked very closely with in my later years.
Yes.
But you know, it was something that my mom told me was wrong to stay away from and was dangerous. Pretty much anything I was told was dangerous or to not touch, I figured had to have some type of internal solution to my problem, which was, you know, restless, irritable, and discontent from an early age. So I experimented with chemicals and the mixing of them and the, you know, inhaling them, Pledge, you know, Glade, all that kind of stuff. But I knew that sniffing the acetone didn't do anything to me, although it smelled dangerous. Really have an effect. So I wondered if potentially smoking it had some effect. So of course, yes, I dipped the cigarette in nail polish, you know, because the cigarette didn't do that much either, right? It was like, okay, I feel a little bit of a buzz, kind of nauseous. Maybe there's more. Maybe I could take this to another level. Tried one wet and, you know, almost burnt my face off. And then tried one, dipped it in there, let it dry, and then smoked it. Of course, it just tastes gross. You know, just the perfumes were left behind. It didn't do anything. But thus my quest to find the ultimate combination of smoking chemicals that would elevate me to a level in which it seemed everybody else seemed to enjoy comfortably.
It's so funny because it's like if there was someone there that saw it that could have like prevented a lifetime, you know what I mean? Because that's like the architecture of your fucking addiction right there.
Right.
I've been watching this Pam and Tommy show. It's not the greatest television show I've ever seen, and it feels pretty unscrupulous. You know, like the idea that they stole the fucking porno in the first place, and then they made this movie without their consent. It seems pretty fucking horrible, right? But you see the Baywatch set in it often. So it made me think of you. It's like, in what I saw, it seemed squeaky in this, you know, facsimile that had nothing to do with real life. It seemed like a squeaky clean place, and you're this kind of pre-addict kid. Was it a squeaky clean place, or was there like a possibility to use or anything?
It was very much a family, but families are fucking dysfunctional, right?
Sure.
So, and in my personal opinion, it started off pretty good. And if you watch Baywatch in the early seasons and then keep watching it, through the later seasons, you see that it loses a little more and a little more and a little more storyline, a little more relatability, a little more authenticity, and it really gets more and more and more boobs and ass as the storyline as the seasons go on. So, in the beginning, there were like producers who were really all about the family dynamic. They had kids, and they knew people wanted to see that. And it, Baywatch was like a procedural show. It's like lifeguards
Right.
doing their job, getting by, having relationships, having drama, and it was a little richer and a little more real. And then, once the ratings go up with boobs, you find Pam, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just begins this endless quest to get the new hot playmate that will make your, you know, series go through the roof. And then, of course, with that, hey, you got 4 5 producers, directors who are at Playboy parties and are at mixers and casting events. And to the victor go the spoil, the hottest chick. I'm sure those hottest chicks are willing to do whatever it takes to get on that #1 show. So
Right.
the vision got blurry, the waters got muddy, and I'm sure people started, sure there was, Pam was getting beat in her trailer by Tommy. David Charvet was pissed off because Pam had just hooked up with him, and now here's Tommy. And Kelly Slater was great memories. Kelly Slater coming on in the early years. He was 18. I really looked up to him. That was fun. But of course, the producers are married. Are they? Aren't they having affairs with the new hot chick? The wife's pissed off because this and that. There was plenty of stuff going on behind the camera.
Right. Totally sounds very intense. When did you get exposed to drugs in it?
Adults, they go off, they do their thing. You're a kid, you can feel it. You know what's happening. You know they're doing something fun. They're taking the edge off somehow. Either they're screwing each other or they're smoking a blunt, and they're hiding it from me. No one's inviting me. No one's including me. And that drove me crazy. I didn't want to be excluded from anything. I wanted to do what the grown-ups were doing. I wanted to do what the bad boys were doing. I had to do a job. I had to suit up, show up, and mind my P's and Q's. But, after the summer, when I had, 60 grand in the bank from a few weeks of work, that was when it was time to burn it all down.
How did it come up? Like, what was the first time you got high?
Booze and weed were pretty much hand in hand. I forget how I got booze, or if it was a friend, or if I stole it from my mom. But I can remember, we chugged some rum or something in the night going down to the beach, and you have friends that talk about weed or smoking weed. God, 10 years old, is when really when it started happening. Especially because I was the cool kid that was on TV and people wanted to be around me. I could hang out with older kids. You'd smell a funky smell coming out of their apartment window and hear them talking. You don't know, but you want to know. And you fake it till you make it. You don't act like you don't know what it is or what's going on. But started smoking little roaches around 10, 11, 12, drinking booze when you can, stuff like that.
I'm sure like being the successful child actor is a lot like being a professional, and you're like, what the fuck? I can handle this. I can handle that. You're such a like an archetypical speed guy. Like when did you encounter speed for the first time?
Whenever I find something, I make my mind up that this is it. This is top, the upper echelon, the end all be all. So I was years from 12 probably to teen. It was like keggers and weed. Bongs, gravity bongs, bubblers, the coolest glass pieces, smoke till you die, fucking skateboard, snowboard, surf. That was the lifestyle. Sleeping in the back of your friend's camper because you can't go home because you're too stoned in his truck, whatever. Video games, that was the life. And then I think one time I took an ecstasy pill, and I feel like the person explained it as like something natural, or I didn't really get the whole message of what it was. And then later on, somebody told me, dude, you know what's in that, right? There's like coke in there, there's speed in there, There's MDMA in there. And I was like, I didn't die? Oh, dude. I mean, I thought everybody tells you harsh drugs are going to kill you. And I was fine. So that like really opened the door for me. So 16 to 18 was Coke. I mean, I couldn't stay awake. My nose was too bloody to get any more in. I started smoking Coke because I couldn't pack it up my beak anymore. And I was never going to stop doing Coke. But then one day I was out of town and ran out of Coke. And friend at the time was with me. And she's like, I'm like pissed, right? Because I'm in this party full of people and no one's got Coke. And I'm like, this is freaking crazy. You got to be kidding me. There's like 30 people in this hotel suite. And we're like at a convention. It was the hip hop convention or something in San Diego. I'm like, I remember wanting to like beat people up because I felt like they were like clowning me, right? There's no way. Like, you got to be kidding.
There had to be Coke.
How are you even out here with no Coke? What is anybody even doing if there's no Coke, right? Here, do some candy. Do some candy. Yeah, candy. Ah, candy. Well, what the fuck is candy? It's like, crystal. I'm like, what? What's crystal? Like, why are you making it sound all girly? And then I'm like, let me see it. Let me see it. And she had these fucking Altoid box all fingernail painted. Like, I had to ask multiple people. They're like, it's speed, like speed. I'm like speed, like crank, like trailer park people do. Like, dude, I'm an established gentleman, dude. Like, Coke is the
I'm a thespian who smokes Coke.
I'm an aficionado of Coke, right? Don't people smoke this? Do people smoke this stuff? Isn't that a safer way to sample these goods? Maybe a light inhalation of this.
Yes.
Is there a light bulb? I must have broken 9 light bulbs at the party, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm trying to get coached by people who aren't really tweakers. Anyway, I figured it out, and it was fun. We had great sex. She had this candy necklace on, it was one of those kind of, and we ended up sleeping at the hotel room, and there was other people there. So we had the blankets over us, and we ended up having this hot, sweaty tweak sex for my first time in my life. And this candy necklace her sweat was dripping it down her body. So it was like, oh my God, this experience, she tastes like candy. And she browbeat me about it because I would be in the bathroom the whole time, and she was a social butterfly, and I was just stuck in the bathroom. That was my domain. You want to come in the bathroom, you got to pee, whatever, deal with it. I'm here. You want to do some of my Coke, that's fine. And I had this like king of the bathroom castle kind of thing that was not really fun for any of my friends. So she just kept trying to push it on me. You got to switch. So I did it a couple more times. It doesn't take 2 or 3 times to, okay, this is my new thing, and that was at probably 18, 19. And I'd say it was another 2-year stretch for me of doing that every day.
Well, I mean, I have to tell you, like, that story, it's a quintessential first speed story to have her call it candy, be wearing a candy necklace, have the candy melting down her body while you have sex with her. It's like that. Yeah. If that doesn't get you addicted to speed, like, I don't know what could. You know what I'm saying?
She ended up painting our, tweak is like that, right? It's very, very chapter-esque. Like, you have, it's not a good story, but there's these beginning chapters. And she ended up hand painting my entire body and her body and the walls. Then you end up.
Those are the good. That's the good chapter.
That's the good chapter. Tinfoiling your whole house and Christmas lights everywhere. Weird shit,
It's weird also because in New York, like, not many people are doing crystal. Not like gay guys do crystal in New York. Like, it's a big gay sex drug in New York. I moved to LA coming out of rehab in Florida, trying to stay off heroin. And my best friend had just started smoking crystal. And I was like, I just didn't want to do heroin. But at the same time, I knew that if I smoked meth, I would wind up on heroin, which I probably wanted all along. So like my whole meth experience was like 3 months. It went from snorting to smoking to shooting to speedballing with heroin, and then I was like, let me just do heroin. But like, so it was very fast for me. And I had a couple of encounters with like LA meth dealers, like a kid named Diggy. Like he seemed like the quintessential meth dealer in North Hollywood or something. But when you're in your coke
shout out
efficient,
to Diggy.
Shout out to
well,
Diggy
wherever he is.
Wherever he is. Let's hope he's still alive. He had a good heart, Diggy. Even though, you know,
They
he had a
usually
good
do.
heart.
We usually do.
Exactly. So when you're Mr. Coke aficionado in your teens, Baywatch is still happening, right? Did people know?
Woo! And a couple months before, you know, you got to go back to set, I would go to rehab for 30 days. You know, get the scabs off my face, put a couple LBs on, you know, get a spray tan and a haircut, and pretend I wasn't this gnarly fiend of a creature that people would be so overly concerned and scared about if they knew the truth. And by 18, didn't, you know, it was bad. I mean, the coke was bad enough to show up for work and be okay, or kick on my mom's couch. But the tweak, probably, it was like the first year I did the tweak, fucked me up because, you know, you think you can get away with it. It's Thursday night or it's Friday. I'll just go to sleep on Sunday and show up to work on Monday. And then you can't sleep, you know, and then you take a Xanax and now you're just going to work on a Xanax and fuck, you got to smoke some more in the trailer. And I didn't bring any. So that was even worse. I might have been okay, but I'm on the set all day, 12-hour day, and I'm coming down hard. And I can't even get my lines out, dude. I can't even remember my lines.
Yes. And did what's his face, David Hasselhoff and Pamela Anderson and David Charvet, did they know? Did the producers know? Did anyone know? Were they worried? Were they scared? Like whatever.
You know, we're pretty good at hiding stuff, you know.
For a little bit.
For a little bit until we're not. So, you know, there was this moment, you know, there was that day, dude, when I didn't sleep. I had been up all weekend partying, and I had to go to work, and I showed up thinking I could get through, you know, don't bring the meth with you. And you know, I'm doing this scene, dude, and I'm like supposed to be grown up now, 18. My character's like a lifeguard now. All my dreams had come true, like from when I was a kid. Wouldn't that be cool? One day I'll be a lifeguard too. And like, you know, I'll make this transition from child actor to adult actor, and, you know, double life thing going on. I had that interior darkness that I could transmit to scene and be real. Like I was developing a depth of pain and life and relationships, and things were really about to go big for me, man. And I remember the day I was on the set and I couldn't even get my mouth to work right. I couldn't even pronunciate right. And I was mortified, dude. It was really hard. And David Hasselhoff, he pulled me aside and he said, "Come here," you know, because it was take after take after take after take. I was trying to hit this scene and I couldn't do it. And that's a far cry from how I used to be, you know, egomaniac with an inferiority complex, you know, Mr. Please everybody, Mr. Hit my mark and say my line perfectly every time. One take Jeremy, that's what they called me. That was the guy who could get it done in one take, which they love. It saves them hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know. And who I had prided myself on being was far gone, you know. And I couldn't get it together. And Hasselhoff took me in his trailer, and he looked me in the eyes and he was like, "Man, are you okay?" He's like, "Are you smoking weed or something, man?"
Right.
And I just I remember that feeling of being like, "Oh no, dude, like if he thinks I'm just smoking weed, like, you know, you got to relate like current 18-year-old problems to who I really am. Like I'm smoking meth with Hell's Angels and former Israeli soldiers who are freaking kicking down doors and robbing people. You know, I'm driving around all day in stolen cars in the San Fernando Valley, you know, doing weird shit with really weird people. And matter of fact, I love them. They're my family. They're my people. There's no way I can tell you what I'm really doing and have you understand at all. Like, I can definitely not get honest right now. Because you're calling the freaking psychiatric evaluation game, dude. You know? So I just quit. Right then and there. I just quit.
What did you
Screw
say?
you guys. Fuck you. I'm out of here. Enjoyed fucking doing this episode without me, motherfuckers. You know, because everyone was like, come on, Jeremy, dude, what's going on? Bro, are you okay? Are you on something? You know, I couldn't handle that. I was nowhere near ready to handle that. So, of course, blame it on them, dude. It's your fault. You're all assholes anyway. I had a million resentments built up against everybody anyway. You know, I wasn't making enough money. I didn't get enough episodes.
You're talking about like the big, like when I asked you, did people know? People didn't fucking know. You're fucking smoking meth with Hell's Angels and these people. You're totally divergent. You had this dream of being this entertainer. You got a taste for the drug, and then the weirdness of the meth, you know, blew up your brain, and you're like, I'm like a creature of the night doing the thing. And like, it's like, and you knew the day shit, especially Baywatch, because it was square, right? It was not like a great artistic depth like that you're talking about. So it probably turned you off in itself. And you were like, this isn't what I'm about anyway. And that divergence was so fucking hardcore, they could never have known. And then when you're like, fuck you, it's like, it's already happening. So your life is already going, but that probably was like a great tether to the ground, right? Baywatch.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it kept me from going overboard. Yeah, it's funny. Some buddies that, you know, they're social partiers, you know, or even heavy partiers. They're definitely not hope to die drug addicts like we are, you know, and I remember like after I quit and after I was going all hardcore, you know, some of my buddies would be like, dude, you were fine when you were just doing coke, man. Like, just go back to coke, you'll be fine. I'm like, dude, you don't understand.
Can't you just smoke weed?
Can't you just smoke weed, do a little coke? Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, I mean, by the time I was addicted to heroin, I wish that I could. I loved weed. Like I didn't fucking care about coke. I loved weed, and then I loved pills, and then I fucking loved heroin, and it was just, I still loved weed. Like when I became a heroin addict, I still loved weed, but like it was over. And like in your situation though, it's like the thing that meth does to your brain when you're using it, it's fucking like it's hardcore out there fucking shit, and having to go to work probably kept something on the ground. So how much of a change was it once you didn't have to go?
Oh, well, yeah, it was great. I don't have to go. Screw everybody. I went into hiding and, you know, ended up living in Studio City and doing exactly what I wanted to do with the worst of the worst that I thought were the best of the best, you know, smoking meth off a candle because I'm in a pad that has no electricity. We're fucking squatting, you know. Not tasty smoke off.
At what point do you start cooking?
Well, you know, the money, I had a lot of, I'd gotten in trouble through the years. So there was a couple, you know, lawyer hits. I had gone to a lot of rehabs. Those were big hits. So the money was dwindling, and I was getting, because I was seen as a Hollywood star, I was getting ripped off a lot. Sold super glue chips, you know, sold bags of cut.
Bastards.
You know, people didn't even want to smoke me out for free. Yeah, bastards. They didn't want to get me high because they thought I had money. You know, they're addicts. Their minds are twisted too. They think I got everything and they got nothing. So through this, dude, I'm not relying on anybody anymore to get me high. I got to learn to cook this shit on my own. So that happened about 19.
Wow.
19 years old. It's been about a year really obsessed with that. Obsessed with that, cooking, having, you know, sulfuric acid blow up in my face, and having red phosphorus spilled on me, and, you know, cooking meth over an open flame. having pads raided because the guys I was with that were teaching me how to do it were like wanted, gnarly, involved with Hell's Angels and DEA, but like actual DEA agents who were in on the shit that was going on because they were shipping this shit to Hawaii for $9,000 an ounce or crazy, having sex with underage girls. Like, there was, they were the real deal. It wasn't like, it wasn't glitz and glam, I'd had enough glitz and glam, dude. I wanted grit.
How do you fucking get someone to teach you how to cook? Like, there's no internship program. There's no how do you get someone to teach you?
Well, we've kind of already prefaced that I'm obsessive compulsive, dude. If I want something, I'll put my mind to it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to hunt. I'm going to experiment. I'm going to try. And so the Taiwanese guy, he had a nice car, and he had a nice apartment, and a hot chick, and he was like, had the best meth you've ever done. And he wasn't a dealer, but he always had some for you, and like Zen, that like this. We would all smoke meth and ice. It was ice, and he would sit like this, and he had everything was pretty, and he had his little cooling pad and the best torches. And so I was like, this guy, dude, this is my guy.
He's the guy.
And he's the guy. So turns out I got him close, got his trust. He didn't, trust a lot of people, but he specialized in crystallizing meth. He could make it grow. He could turn it colors. He could make all the stones exactly identical, like, break it apart and they're all diamonds. Like, he was the wizard, the shard wizard, as it were. And he was working with this Hell's Angel guy, and he would fix bad dope, and he would clean and do all this kind of scientific stuff. And turns out, I was real specific about wanting to give my life over to this. Like, I'm all in. You don't know, where do I have to sign for the chemicals? Dude, I don't care. I'll be on the most wanted list. I'll be on the watch list. Put my name down. Buy it on me. What do I got to do? I'll get another identity, And it turns out that the Hell's Angel guy, name was Frank. And Frank was working for a guy named Gary, and Gary was in the Feds. He was a federal agent, and also a Hell's Angel. And Frank was dying of lung cancer. And he was just this gnarly dude. He walked all rigid. Hands were all swollen and puffy. He slammed heroin and meth. And he stank, man. He stank like death. Like, you could smell that he was dying all the time. And I told him, man, apprentice. Called being an apprentice. Like, I'll do all the hard work. You can take the product and I'll just, my fingerprints will be on everything. I'll be the patsy. I was willing to throw it all away just to learn how to do this stuff. And so that's how they used me, man. They used me to cook the meth to a certain point so that I couldn't steal it. It would lock it in liquid form. It's called lie locking. And I do all the grunt work, dude. I do the stuff that was dangerous that you could blow yourself up with, and they'd come finish it and break me off with something.
Now, I mean, the story starts, you're an attention-seeking little kid who gets on the biggest show of all time, who gets movie deals, who, is around some of the most beautiful people in the world. You were considered one of the most beautiful people in the world, and it's like next year you're willing to throw it all away to cook meth, like, and as everything, right? I mean, that's pretty profound in itself. Like, did you have anything in the back of your head like, I wanted to do this? Like, do you remember the thought process of that time at all?
It's funny, man. As I'm talking to you about this, I'm actually drawing some correlation. Like, man, when I was that attention-seeking kid, like, all I really craved was power. All I really craved was power. I was powerless, man, and I needed new power to flow in. I needed that. I needed to belong so bad that, I found that attention that making me felt like I belonged, and that attention, turned into this TV show thing that it was just based on my efforts, man, just based on my attention to detail and my hard work, I got discovered because of that. It wasn't who I was because I was on TV. I was on TV because of who I was. You know, I just got locked and loaded on if I could cook meth, then I would be the king. You know, this guy's going to die, and then I'll be the guy. I'll be the guy. All the hoes, all the dealers, you know, I won't have to worry about where I live. I won't have to worry about when I'm going to eat. I won't have to worry about anything because I'll be the guy with the power, the magic fingers that can, boom, get everybody high, you know, with the best shit.
It is very magical, the cook. It's a fucking magical job because you're creating this magical substance that changes somebody when they consume it. It's pretty fucking...
And they need it, and they need it bad, especially if you're willing to make it better than anybody else's, sell it for cheaper than anybody else. I was gonna take over. That was gonna be my life.
Well, the alchemy of drugs too, especially to create the drugs. It's like next level power. You know, it's really crazy.
Yeah, so, and I got really into that witchcraft almost. You know what I mean?
And you were always like, as far as I know, you were always super fit. Like most drug addicts don't get to stay super fit. How did, like, was that a thing? Was that important to you the whole time? Like in the back of your head? Like, how'd you manage it?
Oh no, never. So the interesting thing is I got sober at 20.
Hold on, before we get to, wait, hold up. Let's not get you sober yet. Why did you get, I mean, you're 19 fucking cooking meth with the magic fingers. What was the thing that made you want to get sober before we get to sober?
Well, I got arrested. You know, I got arrested for manufacturing meth. It was the second time. Yeah. Second time I had been arrested, you know, in the process of cooking meth or, you know, possessing the items to cook meth or in between a lab. I got arrested when I was 20 years old. So, you know, that was a weird deal, man. I had kind of reached the end of my rope, dude. I remember, you know, because back then, you know, back when I was a kid, it's just like you think if I just had a whole ounce, I can remember thinking, man, if I just had a whole ounce, I wouldn't have a problem in the world. You know what I mean? What would that feel like to have a whole ounce? Whoa. You know, here I am now. I'm 20 and I have pounds, and this stuff just doesn't even get me high anymore. You know? And I can remember I was looking out the window of these blinds, and I remember, man, just not fun anymore. It's just here I am with all this dope, and I'm not happy. And when I walked out of that house, I was looking out of the blinds, and you know, you always think something's weird, but I thought, I was right that day. I was like, something's weird. I've seen that white van like 3 times. Weird. And I walked out of this house, and dudes jumping over fences, cocked freaking shotguns, guys coming around the corners, getting out of cars, undercovers. Now, you know, it was gnarly.
Who'd you live with then?
I was staying with some way older chick with a kid who lived with her mom that was always beating on the door, trying to kick me out, one of those situations.
And you're cooking there?
Not there, no, but we had, the supplies were there. Actually, the cook was taking too long. This was a sad story, man. I remember this was kind of sad. I had sold to somebody, arrested, and dimed me out. And then that guy that got arrested showed back up to buy from me with his buddy. And so they did a controlled buy on me. And the cook was not going as planned. So guy came to deliver to us. He was a really nice guy, dude. Super cool guy. And he had like 9 pounds of meth, like under his bed liner of his truck. So he came to drop us off just enough to get by so we could do the cook. That guy got arrested. I think it was like his 3rd strike. And like he went to prison forever. And they thought I was cooking and selling to him. So it was a big mess. But I feel bad that my shit, you know, rolled downhill on that dude because he was a pretty nice guy. But it was the Newport Beach Police Department, and I was in Yorba Linda, which is like 30 minutes away. And I just remember these cops, man. They sat me down on the curb, and They said, congratulations, you're going to prison for 7 to 35 years. Look at yourself, kid. Look at yourself. What are you doing to yourself? What's wrong with you? Because they knew who I was and where I could have been, And that was really the first moment, that I admitted I thought about it. So what is wrong with me? Like, I could be driving a Ferrari right now. Like, I just said no to like this huge movie deal because I think they're all going to keep coming and never going to stop. And now I'm going to prison for like 7 to 35 years. What is wrong with me? I said, I don't know. I said, I guess I'm just an addict. And that the thought went through my mind that I was going to prison for 7 to 35 years. Now, I wanted to be the man, and I thought I was, and now it's over, and it's too late to redirect, too late to make a change, and why? And I was like, wow. My best excuse I could come up with, and my best reasoning was just for one more hit. For one more hit? That fucked me up pretty bad.
It was identity, though. It was more than just the hit. Like you were so like vested in all aspects of the identity, and that's who you were.
Yeah.
And then you got busted.
And maybe I wanted to run away from that name, that kid on TV. Maybe I just wanted to overshadow that and overpower that so much, because I was just been scorned by it, so to speak.
I know that I wasn't a famous kid on TV, but I wanted to burn up my innocence with drugs in a way. Like I wanted to like shed like whatever. I mean, like now I look back, it's like privilege, innocence, fucking just not, it's not being uncomfortable in my skin basically, and wanting to seek some comfort, Yeah. So you get busted. And you don't have to do 7 to 35 years, thank God.
Yep. Yeah, I got $100,000, and I guess I had some account that was supposed to be $150,000 by the time I was 21, and I was only 20.
That was like a Baywatch account, like a Baywatch.
It was like
thing?
a little trust,
Nice.
a little trust. Something that me and my family had honestly forgotten about because I think we started it when I was young and it was going to mature when I was 21. But we got penalized. We took it out. It was only 90. And so a lawyer settled for $90,000. One more year, it would have been 150. It's like, whatever. Add that to the list of shit I've burnt down. But $90,000 straight up and 6 months of rehab. And it was my first offense like that. I had had a lot of misdemeanors, but that was my first thing. So, they got me off on, hey, this guy's just lost addict, and that was kind of the beginning of my sobriety journey.
How interested in sobriety were you at first?
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. I remember going to like meetings or whatever, and I I said anonymity wrong. They had me do the reading and like people were laughing and like, I think they're laughing at me. And I'm like, screw these dudes. Dudes were like coming up to me and giving me their phone number and like offering me rides and asking me what I was doing tomorrow. And I was like, what is this? Like, this is definitely some kind of pedophile. Like, this is super creepy. Why is this guy in Dockers and a Stafford shirt, drinking coffee, trying to hang out with me? Like, this is really weird. I'm never coming back.
But also being famous, it's like these people just want to hang out with me because I'm famous. They're interested in me because they know me on TV. You couldn't have felt, did you feel like you were one of anybody when you got there? Or was it just like, was the fame, I always want to know about like fame and 12-step meetings when you're supposed to be totally anonymous, you know what I mean? And you're new.
Right. Well, there's two sides to that. So number one, far cry from what I looked like on TV. I'm 30 pounds skinnier than when I was on TV. I'm covered in scabs, dude. I got pick marks all over my face. I don't feel like a celebrity. I don't feel sexy and famous. I feel like like a booger, dude. You know what I mean? Like, don't look at me. And then on the other side, I never felt like I fully deserved or owned who I was. So, I was always surprised when people wanted to take my picture or recognize me. It was never like, yeah, everybody recognized me. It's like, I don't have enough fame. This guy's bigger than me. These are more famous than me. These people probably don't even watch the. It was. I made excuses for everybody of why they have no clue who I am because I have no clue who I am.
It's like imposter syndrome, basically, like all over the place.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
so like when you're 20 and you're fucking in meetings, like do you when does the program hit you? Does it hit you at that point at all? Like do you get interested when you're at that point?
So I did 6 months in rehab. I was when I was in rehab, they want you to get a job, right? I put in for a job at a smoke shop. Told them that I can blow their meth pipes for them. Going to do that clean and sober. So I'm pretty far out there still. I might be sober, but I'm still.
So your
batshit
sober
crazy.
job was going to be as a glass blower blowing the meth pipes. Okay.
Yeah. I'm still pretty committed. I'm still. And they're like, dude, we buy these from China for 2 cents. We don't have somebody, blowing meth pipes. So I still wanted to be stuck on a torch. My head was pretty far up my ass. I like the fellowship aspect of stuff. However, I was still obsessed, really obsessed with self. And
meth.
after dude, for at least 6 months, like anytime I saw like a vase, like I could see a stem in it, like it was a meth bomb.
Right.
If I saw cigarette cellophane, it looked like a overblown glass, it was bad. And the meth back then was really fucking strong. And I'm smoking shit that's totally uncut, But after rehab, like 9 months later, I haven't drank. It's been 9 fucking months. I've either been in jail or under someone's thumb, doing the druggy buggy thing and groups and shit. I don't know if any of it sank in. I spent a year in bed. I got home. I'm like, okay, I did what I needed to do. I laid in bed. I was depressed for a year. I pissed in bottles. I ate popsicles all night long and watched TV and ate ice cream and slept all day. I called party line. I was too scared to leave the house. So I just stayed in bed until my hair and my skin hurt too bad. And I have to shower to try to, get rid of the pain. I was pretty damn lost. And my mom forced me to get out of the house. She took me to this meeting, and these guys that were my age. That's really when the turning point was for me. They were my age, surf. They drank, energy drinks. I don't even think I'd ever drinking an energy drink or coffee, and they smoked cigarettes. They played pool. They surfed. When the sun came up, they stayed up all night. They spray painted T-shirts. They just did fun
They
shit.
had fun.
And they went to conventions and those guys got my number, and they would show up outside my house and honk the horn and wouldn't leave until I left with them. And thank God for those guys, man. And so, I started actually seeing life without drugs and alcohol for the first time for real. And we went to Vegas sober. We go to nightclubs sober. We do all kinds of fun stuff. We were a little scared, but felt like drink was going to lodge itself down my throat or something. But that's really how I was introduced to like actually navigating the world with sober buddies.
And you were having fun. Like it was like, oh, okay, this can be fun. And you were still young. And like life wasn't over and you weren't some crazy pirate meth cook. You're fucking living, and you're living probably a life that was pretty similar to like the Hollywood dream in a way. Cause you're still going out. You're still, meeting, meeting people and having a good time and being young and good looking and shit. Is that when
Beautiful
fitness hits
Southern
you?
California,
Right.
I've been sober for 6 years now. And I'm dating a pretty hot chick. And I saw her ex-boyfriend's Facebook profile. And this dude was jacked. He was shredded. And somehow I just made a decision that I wasn't going to let any ex-boyfriend be sexier than me. And it's time for me to start training, mixed martial arts and start getting my, skinny arm, big belly ass in the gym,
And you were into it.
Super into it, as we do with anything we sink our teeth into. Yeah, I'm in the gym every day. I'm doing Muay Thai, taking all the right supplements, and I'm getting after it.
And when does like the shit creep back? Like, what was the shit that started creeping back? In my head, I think did you start doing like steroids first, or was it drinking first?
It's funny. I just hit her up to say hi the other day. I hadn't talked to her in years. Have you heard of this lady, Shelly Sprague?
Yeah, of course.
So Shelly was one of my counselors. She worked with Dr. Drew. She's a fucking legend, right? 27 years sober, something like that.
Yeah.
She was a counselor of mine, and she would say, Jeremy, you're sober with a small S. You're not sober with a capital S. And I had no idea what that meant. So yes, I'm clean and sober. Yes, I'm, I love being clean and sober. But, if I'm not taking a new girl home night I go out, I must be a failure. Yes, I'm totally sober, but, I got these outfits that are just got to attract attention. I still got to be a star. I still got to be cool, prove that I still got it. My sobriety, or my dedication to my sobriety, was like only fulfilled, if I could prove I could still get the chick, because I started doing nightclub promotion. If I got the chick at the end of the night, I must be on the right track. If I'm stacking cash under my mattress, I'm still a gangster.
It's all God-shaped whole shit anyway, right? It's just another one.
Bullshit, man. And, it was very surface level stuff, still self-seeking, self-centered. And I thought I knew. I guess I just thought I knew stuff. I thought I knew what was necessary, what I needed, or what was good enough for me. And so, yeah, fitness, crazy, weird diets. I'm still manic, basically, and steroids came in for sure. What else was I getting weird with? I was getting weird with money. I joined a car club. I had a Lambo for a little bit. I had a Porsche for a little bit, Ferrari for a little bit, and all God-shaped whole stuff, man.
And that's all from the nightclub promotion, right? You're just making crazy. Where's the money coming from?
And I started working with fashion brands like Ed Hardy, Christian Audigier. So I'm all rhinestone studded out and going to cool events. And, I also wanted to kind of prove that I didn't need the entertainment industry. And I thought if I got all buff and I was driving a Lambo, like some producer was going to come out of the woodwork and be like, dude, we need you,
right.
You don't need us. We need you. Look at what you've done with yourself. Just self-defeating prophecy shit,
I think that shit
for
sounds
12 years.
That sounds hard to me to ever do that kind of work and be sober. Like how does that even possibly go together?
A few things there, It was funny because I'd be at a nightclub dancing my ass off, sweating my ass off because I'm working with models, I'm making money, and I'm the center of attention. I got plenty of dopamine. I don't need drugs. Matter of fact, really the way I like to, so that's one side. I was using and abusing people, places, and things to fill my God-shaped hole. The other side of it is if I smoke some tweak, I'm not dancing. I'm not having a good time. I'm definitely not making money. And I'm not going to be on the mic being Mr. Personality hyping the party up. So nightclub, I have far long graduated from nightclub party. I have a couple drinks and I want to punch somebody in the face. I do some coke and I'm a fucking asshole. I like to be alone in a garage with a dirty tool set and a fucking porno.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I like to party.
And when did the slip happen? Are you still doing meetings in that time? Are you still like trying to work a spiritual program when you're in Ed
Totally,
Hardy?
dude. I got sponsees. I'm letting guys crash on my couch, get clean on my couch. You know, I'm going to meetings, but I'm going to meetings to show these guys that it can work and you can be cool and have fun and you don't have to be lame to be sober. You know, I start taking on this mantle basically of a young guy with, you know, double-digit sobriety. Like, I'm only 30, I got 10 years sober, and you can do it too. Rather than being a worker amongst workers, you know, a small piece of the organism,
Right.
grateful and all that kind of stuff. So really, so the steroids, you know, some steroids are way different than others. Some steroids absolutely make you manic and super obsessive compulsive and go into a downward spiral of self-centeredness. The fitness industry in general is pretty selfish and self-centered. You know, it's pretty egotistical and self-serving. So you know, that's a slippery slope. Steroids,
Yeah, that's why
super
I've never
slippery
gotten
slope.
fit in my whole life because I don't want to be like that, you know. Anyway, keep going.
um, but what had happened was, in my quest to become the next Rambo, so the entertainment industry would come groveling back on their feet to me and beg me to be in their new movie because I wasn't going to ask anybody for anything, and they needed to ask me with jiu-jitsu, with extreme weightlifting, triathlons. I mean, I'm a nut. I exerted my nervous system to the level I could no longer get sleep. So I was getting very little sleep, but medically, the sleep I was getting was not deep enough to actually repair me. So I'm getting this big bloated belly. My organs are growing, and I'm getting issues from not producing my own growth hormone because I'm in this constant state of fight or flight. So basically, I just recreated, you know, stimulant, you know, through my own
Addiction, right?
endogenous hormones. I'm creating chaos internally because that's all I really know how to do. Even if I'm able to successfully somewhat pull it off for 12 years, I'm a producer of chaos, right? And so I produced this chaos inside me, and my doctor's like, listen, I can prescribe you what GHB is gabapendiol, right? Which is a drug that I love, that I've done for years, that I've also manufactured. And he's like, but honestly, it's probably way cheaper for you to get it on the street.
That's what the
So
doctor
I
said.
need, yeah, yep.
Okay.
And it was like $1,000 a bottle, right? And it's like this little bottle, and it's prescribed to people with extreme sleep apnea or sleep disorders because it just puts you down. And so I start drinking GHB just to go to bed. I'm not trying to feel it. I'm not trying to party on it. I'm not taking it in the daytime. I'm just like taking it and I'm closing my eyes like, okay, I want to fall asleep before I feel anything. Getting loaded, dude, and I don't even know it. You know, story of my life. I'm screwing myself over and I can't even see it. You know, it's all based on another one of my great ideas, you know.
Well, a doctor saying, I can't write you a script for GHB. You should hit the streets, get some GHB cheap. It's like, and did he know you were in recovery? Did he know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
horrible.
yeah. And I've had doctors that know I'm in recovery prescribe me Adderall. Doctors that know I'm in recovery prescribe me benzos. You know,
Me
you know,
too.
some
Me
other thing.
too.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. And then I'm
I've
in a
had that
blackout,
happen
dude.
too.
You know,
But I've never had a doctor say, well, I could write you a
get
script
it
for
on the street.
Xanax, but I know this dude on 6th Street that has it for $1 a pill. Like, I never knew a doctor that did that. So it's like, that's
Damn,
fucked
$1 a
up.
pill. That's a good deal. Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yes.
that's fucked up. And it's a setup. And are you going to meetings, drinking the GHB at night? Like, do you somehow work it in? Or is that when you're like, I can't do the meetings anymore?
Basically, at that point, I had already moved to LA and I had years. So kind of felt like a big shot. I felt like maybe I would go to meetings, you know, on occasion. but I didn't really need them like I had needed them in the past.
Right. And how did your life change at that point? What happens?
Oh man, that for a while. I got away with Adderall for a while, and then weed. Then it was weed for a while, and then after I was a personal trainer to celebrity. I was like nutrition, fitness coach, mentor to hedge fund managers. I had plenty of money rolling in. I thought, I had it all figured out. And I thought to myself, well, dude, I'm like 33, 32, whatever. I've been sober for 12 years, even though I'm smoking weed, because I didn't consider it to be a relapse at that time. Really, I was like, I could probably get away with drinking, or I'll do an experiment and see if I can get away with drinking. So I drank on occasion, and I was fine with that too. But like when I say fine, I mean like I didn't have one drink and wake up a week later in a crack house, you know. But I was also in a relationship with a woman that had totally become my god. That was my drug of choice. She was the main drug in my life, and we would drink and smoke a little weed, and things seemed to be going fine.
Was that the woman you married?
Yes.
Lonnie Willison?
Yeah. Yes.
She was crazy hot. You were both crazy fit. And
Yep.
it's like, as somebody, because like you had a life, I'm interested in the bigger story. Like you had this child star fantasy life. You had this crazy, very brief kingpin, meth cook, fucking full on, all of the misadventures, smoking meth and GHB. I never did GHB, but that's a whole other thing.
Oh,
I know. I missed out. I know.
What about Quaaludes?
Yes, I did Quaaludes somehow. I don't even know how. I don't even know how I did Quaaludes. I never smoked PCP or did GHB. Those are the two things I never did.
Smoked PCP one time. I almost jumped out of a moving car. I thought I could run alongside of it. We were on the freeway.
Oh my God. But hold on.
Dead sure.
Hold on. So you're fucking, yeah. You're in your early 30s. You've got this ridiculously hot wife. You're in ridiculously good shape. You've got money in the bank. You did 10 years of sobriety. You're fucking 32. You had worked this program. You're with this hot chick. You're smoking weed. Do you have that feeling, like you had heard so much AA shit, NA shit, whatever. Were you like, at that point or no?
Yeah, I got a little weird, like a little weird on the weed. Weed and Adderall is a weird mix, super overly analytical,
Overthinking.
Start slacking, like showing up late to meetings, can't get out of the house, and tweezing your own eyebrows or getting fucking weird, doing stupid shit, and I remember little things like, oh, this is weird. I have a little drug box, with my vape pens and my dab rig. This is paraphernalia. Yeah, this is kind of old shit, man. But like you said, I got 2 cars, I got a dog, I got a housekeeper. It's like, man, I mean, if it gets bad, like, I'll just stop. That's what I thought. If it gets bad, I'll just stop. It'll be fine.
So what happens?
Well, what happened was, turns out like all this codependent fixing superhero stuff with the wife was not just girly insecurity and generalized paranoia or a wounded female who could be loved back to health with money and trips to Maui and trips to Fiji and, getaways and, extra back massages and talked out of this, this fearful role, me and my great ideas, you know, I married a former porn star who was a stripper for years, who had fucked guys for money, who had been abused by her family, who, you know, dated a meth addict for years, who jerked off to porn, and her self-esteem was so low that she got into porn so that he would love her. You know, I mean, this is a deeply wounded female that, you know, I thought, hey, I'm a deeply wounded guy too. Like, you know, we can overcome this together. You know, we're going to church, you know, we're smoking a little weed. Sure. We're taking a little bit of medication, but it's as prescribed. We're having some wine in bed, but this is really how you connect. And probably a lot of the stuff was to try to connect with her better, to, you know, have a glass of wine together in bed. And, yeah, you got a little anxiety. Let's try some weed. She hated the weed. It wasn't good for her. It made it worse.
Was she in program when you met her?
She was, had never been in the program. When I met her, she was a normie. You know, I mean, I saw she drank sometimes, not all the time. There wasn't really like a drug or alcohol problem there that I saw. I had known her since I was 21. So I was dead sober, Mr. Club Promoter. She would come to my club sometimes. We'd hook up sometimes. We dated. We were friends. We hung out. And then we had lost touch for 4 years. So essentially, I had known her off and on for 4 years. Didn't see her at all for 4 years. And then now dated her for like a year. She was in a nursing program. She was trying to get out of stripping. You know, I thought I would have been sober all this time. And I thought, you know, this is, we can do this together. You know, we could be a team. And, you know, having drinks together to try to connect, settle down. And I'm under this facade that I'm this mentor, healed human who is impervious to, you know, the pitfalls of life, because I've learned so much and come so far.
Which you had.
And I just thought I could tackle. Yeah.
You know, you had learned so much and come so far. It's just like one of these kinds of things, right? It's in and out.
Yeah.
You know? You've been through it.
Yeah.
I heard you tell us. I heard you tell the story of the kind of relapse story, the speed relapse story.
Yeah.
Could you lay that thing out, because it's so fucking crazy?
Okay. So, you know, after about 6 months of the relationship really being on the rocks, you know, we get into this fight over a girl I dated before I ever knew her. And, you know, I lose my temper. I throw a beer bottle through the TV and I'm yelling at her because I'm just so upset that she won't drop this non-issue. And, you know, she starts screaming, "Stop it, you're hurting me." Meanwhile, she's recording the whole thing and I don't even know it. And you know, I try to get out of the house. I'm like, fuck this, she's going crazy. I try to get out of the house and she won't let me, and she attacks me. She face butts me. She rips 30 grand cash out of my hands. I got no shoes. I got no wallet. I have my keys and jean shorts, dude. And I was lucky to get out of the house with that. And I went to get out of the house and I went to my car. And before I got in my car, I thought, man, Jeremy, you got to go back in that house and grab your cash, dude. Whatever she's flipping out about, she's doing something. Something's wrong, dude. That was a thought I had in my own head. And this other voice came in through my entire body. It rattled, it vibrated. And it was without argument, no questions asked, non-negotiable. It said, Jeremy, if you go back in that house, you're never coming back out. And I was like, what? Okay. So I got in my car and I started it and I backed up and I pulled the nose of my truck around the car parked in front of me. And just as my tail bed cleared the car on the side of me and I was driving straight, this cop whipped around the corner, pulled into my house, turned on its lights. And I basically had about 1 second of straightforward momentum to look like I was through traffic. If I would have been pulling in or backing out or doing any maneuvering, that cop would have for sure looked in my car and asked me to stay right there, you know, because I was directly across from my house, you know, I was right at my gate. And I was driving on the road, and I was like kind of crying, like, whoa, what just happened? I got scratch marks on me. I got no shirt. I got no wallet. Where am I going to go? I can't even get gas if I need gas. I don't even have my phone. I'm like, I'm just going to drive to my mom's house. And I was on the 10 freeway south and driving from LA to Orange County. And the voice rang through my head again, dude. And when I say rang through my head, I'm talking about like you got hit with a gong wave. Dude. Boom, 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 boom. Jeremy, if you even stay on this freeway any longer, you won't make it to your mom's house. And I was like, what in the actual hell? Pulled off the freaking freeway, and I parked my car in an underground parking garage where I knew somebody who lived there, some random chick that I had personal trained some months before. And I rang the bell desk, called up, and I didn't even know if she was going to be home, and she was home. And I went in there and I said, I just went through a gnarly experience. Like, I'm so sorry. Like 10 o'clock at night, and I don't know where else to go. I don't even have my phone. I can't call you. Can I stay here? You know, basically just got attacked by my wife. And she said, yeah. So she had Xanax and she had booze. And I was pretty traumatized. So I started popping Xanax and drinking booze, crying, weeping. That girl raped me while I was totally high on Xanax and drunk. She forced herself on me. I was crying under the pillow while she was writing. It was like I spent weeks there, weeks drunk and Xanaxed out. Weeks. I mean, maybe 2 months, not making any phone calls, just hiding, dude, miserable. My mom said, Jeremy, don't come home. There's cops all over our street looking for you. My mom went to my house in LA. Jeremy, there's cops all over your street in LA. You're wanted for attempted murder. Lonnie said this. Lonnie said that. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how is this happening? What did it, like, I thought it was all my fault. Oh my God, I fucked this up so bad. What, I didn't love her enough. What did I not do? So blackout was really the best I could deal with it, dude. And I cried every day, dude. There was moments when all that was touching the floor, I'd go in this girl's closet, lock myself in there and put a pillow over me. And all that was touching the ground was like the back of my heels and my shoulder. Like I'd be arched up. Like, like I was so wrecked. And finally, I asked this girl, I said, you know anybody that has meth, that can get meth? And she had a girlfriend that could get meth. And this girlfriend came over to the house with a box of watches. I remember she had a box of these ceramic watches, not Chanel's, Techno Marine. Yeah, Techno Marine. She had all these stolen watches, these Techno Marine watches, and she had meth, and she was cute. And I was like, this is going to be my new best friend, right? I didn't want anybody to watch me smoke it. I didn't want to pass it. I wanted to be alone, and I wanted to do the thing that I hadn't done in a really long time by myself. So I went in the bathroom. I closed the door. I sat down on the toilet. And while I was melting the bowl, sitting on the toilet, looking down at the pipe, I saw the top of my foot. I had no shoes on. And on the top of my foot is that right there. 9/24/2000.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. You see that?
Yeah.
That's my original
September
sobriety.
24th,
9/24/2000. 2000. So I know it's September. And I go from the bathroom, I go, hey, what day is it today? You know, and I'm looking down at romanticizing this meth I'm about to smoke for the first time. And they go like, it's Tuesday. I'm like, no. What's the date? The 24th. So it was 9/24/2014. I was doing meth for the first time in 14 years on my original sobriety date. And that just freaking rocked me, dude. I couldn't believe it. So 14 years to the day, I'm doing meth again for the first time in 14 years exactly.
That's crazy.
And,
I have a stupid question though, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You gotta indulge a really stupid question. And this is just, forgive me for this question, okay? When you get to this woman's house, right, and you're fucking traumatized, miserable, out of your mind, and she gives you Xanax and booze, how does it work? And this is a stupid mechanical question. How do you stay hard and get ridden if you're traumatized and crying? Like, explain that to me. The reversed rape, I need to know, please. I need it. I need the information.
That's a really good question. And I don't actually know. The first thing that pops, well, she forced herself on me orally first. I was shit-faced, and I was like, no, pushing her off. No, don't. And she's like very insistent, and I just remember sobbing in that pillow, dude. It was really fucking sad. However, deep down inside of me, there's this part that is so used to being taken advantage of, is so used to being used, is so used to being basically molested and, raped in general. I mean, I've lost all my money so many times. I've lost my career now twice, it's almost like, the most uncomfortable stuff is somehow become the norm and comfort,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in a situation that you don't want to be in, and you kind of have to do this thing that comes naturally, and there's pleasure in the pain, all that shit.
This is what she wants. I'm wanted by the freaking cops. I'm staying at her house. She's taking care of me. I'm sleeping in her bed, and I've probably had sex with a lot of girls I didn't really want to have sex with. I've already had a million girlfriends who were using me just to make their boyfriends jealous. I've had a million girls who wanted to date me or have sex with me just to say they dated me or had sex with me because I'm on TV or I'm bragging rights. Like, it's, even though it's spiritually crippling, it's really not that far from it. I mean, I just got out of a relationship that was I just had a girl betray me. I just got out of a marriage that was a total fucking farce. Obviously at this point, anything I think I know is wrong. And what I think I know is right is wrong. And what I think is wrong is right. I'm fucking real lost. Why don't just add insult to injury while we're at it?
Right. But what do you think happened with Lonnie? Do you think something like happened in her head? Like, how did that get so fucking dark?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, for about 2 years, I did a lot of like grief and trauma work on this. And while I was doing that work, I was still pretty convinced that somehow I had failed her, that it was my fault, that I could have tried harder. Meanwhile, I'm her personal trainer. I'm her private chef. I'm seeing her off with breakfast and lunch every day she's going to work. I put her through school to get her cosmetology license. I'm paying off the debts that she has that are overwhelming her and making her feel less than. And, we're doing all this stuff. We're getting her acne scars removed. Like, in my eyes, she's just this queen. She's just this beautiful queen that deserves to fly. She's this swan that thinks she's the ugly duckling. And I was so obsessed with fixing her little issues that I couldn't allow myself to see how much more severe they were.
Right.
Like, as much as I want to help, it's a big lesson for me. Like, as much as I want to help people, as much as I want to be there for people, as much as I want to channel God's solution, and I want everybody to be happy, joyous, and free, even today, this is a big lesson. you know, there's things I can't do, you know, and because I was so obsessed with being able to be everything she needed, I couldn't see when she would call me from the doctor's office and say that all the girls were talking about her in the other room and she could hear them and that they were conspiring against her or making fun of her. You know, she would do this on occasion, you know, like I wouldn't say frequently, but at least twice a month. You know what I mean? And or things like this. So at that time, I was making excuses for her. Like, okay, you've been stripping your whole life. All you know is ratchet women who are out to get you, catty, bring you down. You know, so that's what you expect. So, you know, I understand that. You know, it's past trauma, but you're grown up now. You got a big girl job now. And, you know, who cares even if they are? They're probably not. You're probably mishearing something, you know, but even if they are, who cares? You're beautiful. You're a unicorn. Of course, they're going to talk bad about you, you know, because they'll never be as good as you. And I'm trying to apply, you know, human aid to this deep spiritual wound. And, you know, she would call me and she would say, or she would show up. She would show up at 3 o'clock when I know she doesn't get off at 6 at home. She'd be crying. I just can't be at work anymore. I don't know. The doctor was in the room and there was a patient in there and I saw the scalpel and I just felt like I was going to hurt somebody. I just felt like I was going to hurt somebody, like I was going to mess up and cut them. And I'm like, oh, you poor thing. You know, you don't think you're worthy of this like good opportunity and these professional people. You feel so clumsy and so less than that you think you're going to make this mistake. What's the worst thing you could do? And that's all you expect of yourself. But babe, you're better than that, you know? And I would try to talk her out of these holes. And I just thought they were insecurity. So I didn't think she was hearing voices in her head. I thought maybe she just misheard something through the wall. Could it be that she was actually just hearing voices? Could it be that she was having like paranoid delusions of grabbing this knife and stabbing a client? Like, that didn't even ever enter my mind because, you know, selfishly, had that entered my mind at the time, it would have changed the whole dynamic of our relationship. Unfortunately, sadly, if I would have been more open, if I would have been more, you know, mindful, maybe we could have taken different measures. You know, I was in therapy.
Listen,
she needed to be in therapy. She should have been in therapy. I was in therapy.
It's also a we are not saints situation. You know what I mean? You can't, and
That's
also you're drinking and you're smoking pot. And then also that story post fight, you're hearing voices. You're hearing voices all over the
Very
place.
true.
So
Very
it's
true.
not that disconnected. And it's like, it's also that whole thing, like two sickies can't make a welly. You know what I mean? Like it's so hard to it's like, it's very hard when you have two broken people to get whole together. Usually what happens to you guys is what happens.
Yeah.
Now you look down, I wanted to get that backstory because like that bathroom story, when you see the tattoo 14 years to the day, that's some fucking cosmic fucking crazy shit. It's crazy. You can tell the story 50 million times. It doesn't make it any less crazy. Like that's fucking deep, don't you? I mean, it's deep.
Weird.
Yeah, it is. And then so how long does the meth go after that? How long do you stay at this chick's house? And when did you get clothes? You show up at her house just in jean shorts. When did you get your clothes?
Yeah, I didn't. You know, I got, after Lonnie moved out of the house and my mom went back and got me stuff, you know, and mostly just bought new shit. You know, I had a little bit of money in the bank, not the cash that she stole, but a little bit of money in the bank. So, you know, when that girl showed up with the watches and the meth, I pretty much left with her that day. You know, I left with that girl that day. And, that run went on for about a year. Yeah. About a year, couple assault with the deadly weapons, robbed at gunpoint a couple times, you know, kidnapped, freaking.
Hold on. This is too much.
I mean,
you got
stealing cars.
Who did you assault with the deadly weapon and what was the deadly weapon and what happened?
The deadly weapon was a knife. So, you know, it's a really long story. I needed a ride, and I asked these crackheads on the side of the street for a ride, and they had to ask their boss for a ride. And then the crackheads gave me a ride, and the crackheads attacked me in the car during the ride, trying to steal my money and my dope. And I fought back, and I beat them up. And then the boss of the crackheads called me after that, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you're a G. I heard you handled your shit. You standing up for what was yours, man. Okay, I fuck with you, man. Here's what I need. I need to order this much drugs." So I agree to meet him. And when the dude comes to pick up his dope, he's got this crazy 7-foot tall looking, ugly, like creature person with him. And
woman. A woman. A large woman. Yes.
I didn't want to say ugly creature woman and feel, yeah, it was an it. Let's put it that way. And she pulls out this telescopic baton, and he's like, "You know what's up? This is the homegirl, such and such from da-da-da-da gang, and you know you're getting taxed, you know, for selling dope, like basically in our area, and we're gonna take this." And you know, I get into this gnarly scuffle. I get up and I fucking grab the dude, wrestle him down to the floor. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for years, so I know how to handle my own. I've been doing Muay Thai for years, and I'm choking the dude out, and then the girl's beating my shins with the baton. I can't hold on to him with that rear naked choke because my legs are off him now because she's beating my shins, and that shit hurts. And then he's on top of me, and we're fighting. We get in this crazy scuffle, and you know, he leaves, and he's got all my shit. I just lost like $2,500 worth of shit. And so somebody in the house is like, "Hey, I can introduce you to this guy. He's got a lot. He'll front you, and you can get back on." And I meet this guy, and his name's Wacky, and he's got clown tattoos all over his face, and he's from this CPA gang, Canoga Park, Alabama, and he's all overweight, half black, half Mexican, all tattooed up, and he's shining up a gun. "However, I heard you can handle this problem for me." He's like, "Yeah, man, you know, they you hear who I am, man, you're gonna get your shit back. They know I'm fucking with you, man. You're gonna get all your shit back, man." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so we set these people up that stole my shit, and it's a clusterfuck. And I'm waiting outside. They're supposed to do this deal and get my shit back. And they've been in there for 45 minutes. I knock on the door. I'm like, "Fuck this. I want to handle myself." And the dude answers the door with the gun, and he's like, "Yo, man, you fucked up, man. We flushed all the drugs because you was knocking like the police, man. And you I hope you're happy, man." I'm like, "What? Like, this is fucking crazy, dude." And then they all go scattering out of the room, and they take off. And I'm like, "Where's the shit?" You know? And then he fucking puts me at gunpoint. And he get in the car, and he's like, "Yo, man, this ain't Hollywood, man. This is for real shit. You ain't about business. I'm taking all your shit. This is my dope now. This is my car now." And we've run out of gas. He got me at gunpoint. I think he was slamming meth in there because he was out of his friggin' mind. And you know, he keeps just talking shit to me. And he keeps putting the gun in my face and telling me what a bitch I am. And I'm waiting. I'm trying to play it safe. But I got this pocket knife on me, you know. So, you know, after we get out of the car, and now we're in my Airbnb, this room that I'm renting, he's basically he's got my car keys in his pocket, and he's taking whatever he wants, man. And I waited for the opportunity, and I called him a bitch. And when he turned around and he pointed the gun in my face, I stepped through so the gun would be over my shoulder. I grabbed his arm on top of my shoulder. I locked his arm into my shoulder with my shoulder, my head, and my hand, so he can't get his arm away. And I had that knife in my hand behind my hamstring, and I just started going to town, man. And he got out of there. He went right to the hospital, and he gave a fake name for himself, and he told the cops, "Oh yeah, Jeremy Jackson from Baywatch. He stabbed me. He's a gangster. Yeah, go get him." And before they could run his fingerprints to see who he really was, he left against medical advice. He ditched the hospital. Turns out he's wanted for a shooting at a party. He's absconding. He's been on the run. And, you know, they arrest me. I go to jail. I got to bail out. It's a huge nightmare. It costs thousands of dollars. I'm just trying to stay alive. I'm just trying to eat. I'm just trying to feed these hungry fiends out here. And pay for my rental car, pay for my hotel room and stay high. That's all I need, man. Why does everybody keep taking my shit? So then like a couple weeks later, somebody stole a car that I borrowed. That guy stole my car. So I borrowed a car from this girl that was in jail. She's going to allow me to drive her car while she's in jail. And some people came and stole that car. And I'm like, look, man, I've had enough of my stuff taken. I'm not letting other people's stuff get taken, especially other people who were kind of considerate enough to loan me their shit. I got to get this car back. I got to get this car back. Not for me, for the girl who loaned it to me. And I hunt these people down and I falsely imprison them. I'm like, you're going to give me my fucking car back. And you know why you're going to give me my car back, right? You know what? Go ahead.
I said, wow.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So you heard about what happened to the last guy that fucked with me, right? I mean, he lost a testicle, 126 stitches. He's lucky I let him live. So we don't want another episode, right? You're going to give me my car back. Tell him what? We all make mistakes. Hey, we're all fiends here. You just fucked with the wrong person. That's all. No, nothing on you. You just don't fuck with me. And man, it took 3 days, dude. 3 days. No, it took like 2 days. And they drove me in circles, man. They lied to me. They bullshitted me. I was buying them food. They were getting dope sick, so I bought them heroin. I was just trying to keep them well so they could get me my car. And they were just lying to me. And then there was 2 dudes and a girl, man. They linked up with this other dude and they turned. I was in the back seat and I saw them turn down the volume in the front and turn all the volume to the back seat and crank up the music so they could talk and conspire against me. And I was like, you know what? This is where I draw the line, man. And when the guy got out of the car, I jumped in the car and I told the girl, I pulled the knife out. I said, get the fuck out of this car right now. And she just started kicking, violently kicking. She turned her back and kicked me with both legs. And I got 2 dudes outside the car trying to get in, and this girl got all cut up on her legs because I had a knife in my hand and she was kicking me. And so that's the second assault with a deadly weapon right now. And all this shit just happens like consecutively, dude. Boom. This is a normal day in my using career. Not even abnormal. This is just how it goes.
It's just the second you add meth back to your life, all of a sudden you're dealing it and it's utter fucking demoralizing chaos, the craziest fucking shit. And it's also just even listening to you talk when you're so rational, so sensible, can make sense of everything, and the second your brain recalibrates to that situation, you tell the story like you're in the situation, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's really part of all of our fucking double life shit and like fight or flight, weird instincts. Now, you're fucking in maximum chaos, right? You had 10 years of sobriety. You've had this ridiculous long, strange trip. There's been many shows on TV that I watched shooting heroin about your career becoming a speed career. Like you're like this figure, a public figure who've gone both ways. In the back of your head, are you thinking I can get out of this, or like are you thinking I got to keep going?
Oh yeah, always keep going. Always keep going. I don't give up. That's one of my, that's.
I don't mean keep, I mean like, are you thinking I know how to get sober and this chaos can end, or you're like, I don't want to get sober yet. Like,
I don't want to get sober. Yeah. No, I don't want to get sober. No, being sober, taking vitamins, working out, anything beneficial sounds absolutely terrible. I mean, I think for anybody in active addiction, it all sounds like a complete joke.
Right. So what turned the page?
The same thing that turns the page every time, dude. Handcuffs, and another really scary prison term hanging over my head. I never have that moment of clarity until I'm arrested, and then that moment of clarity does not last very long, so it's an ankle monitor and it's 7 years in prison I'm looking at. And, I gotta plead guilty. Like I'm some knife wielding maniac who just went around stabbing random people. I don't get to be the guy that was just protecting myself or was trying to get out of a situation without hurting anybody. None of that gets said or told or is even cared about. all that matters is somebody got hurt and I had a knife and I'm the bad guy. And I got to be okay with that, dude. And now I got to go back to jail again. You know, there's no hope for me. Once again, thank God. Thank God. The only time I have a moment of clarity is when I'm hopeless.
Thank God. You know what I mean? For real. Like a moment of clarity is really worth, you know, it's worth its fucking salt. So like, where's the moment of clarity? Like, what are you looking at? Like in terms of time, what they're saying 7 years, an ankle bracelet. How did you not do it?
Well, I ended up doing a year and agreeing to 5 years felony probation. And a lot of rehab. And you know, the way I didn't do it, I mean, I had a lawyer that was recommended to me by Nicole Eggert, who is one of my co-stars from Baywatch, formerly from Charles and Charlie. She saved my ass because I had a couple public defenders because I really did not have money anymore. I had a couple public defenders. One of my public defenders said, you got to go insanity. You got to go insanity. I could probably get you 5 years at a mental institute. You know, that's probably the best we can get you. And the other guy, you know, basically said, you're screwed. This is it. You know, knife charge, terrorist threats, false imprisonment. The girls got cuts, you know, and, you know, you were there, you know, and so I'm not lying. I'm not denying. I'm not trying to get out of this thing. I'm just trying to hope that the judge can see this as like a, you know, a drug deal among crazy people gone wrong. However, the guy that I stabbed before, who was robbing me at gunpoint, was really against me. You know, the DA loved to keep bringing that up. Like, hey, this isn't the first time, you know, this is going to keep happening. However, the girl ended up coming to testify against me, really high on heroin, like falling asleep.
Which never looks good in court, right?
I think it helped a lot.
It had to. It never looks good when somebody's nodding out in court. It's never a good
The
look.
other guy who was involved had a criminal rap sheet that was up the wazoo. You know, the girl had, she had an escape charge, like escaping custody. The guy had, you know, like a high speed pursuit. They all had fraud charges. They all had he had done prison terms. You know, their rap sheets were way worse than mine, way worse. I had been out of trouble for a really long time. And I had a great attorney who could, thank God, explain to these people that you know, I'm just a sick alcoholic, drug addict. And, you know, if I could get my shit straight, if they could keep me in line long enough, I could actually be of benefit to mankind and be a positive force for other addicts that are suffering, man. And I feel like I got exactly what I needed, dude. I ended up going to rehab and working in rehab for like 4 years. You know, I was basically in rehab for like 4 years. So that was good. And that's where I really got to work on myself. And I did go back to jail and do a year, and I got a strike, and it's all finally now coming to an end. It's actually been about 5 years now since all that drama went down, and it's all kind of falling off my record. And I'm really lucky, dude. I'm really grateful.
When you get to that place and the judge is like, you can be, or the lawyer says that you can be a positive influence on mankind, does that occur to you then? Or are you just like, get me the fuck out of this?
Man, I was scared. I didn't want to be let down, you know? So I was really scared to have any high hopes because it looked really bad. The DA hated me. He really wanted me to pay. And they wanted to make an example of me, really. I mean, dude, guys, my buddy was like, dude, my buddy's from Connecticut. He's like, dude, I have a 7 assault with the deadlies. I've never done a day in jail. You know, never. I've done a little Caltrans or something like that. He's like, California people are crazy. I've met other people who have done the same and gotten way less time. They wanted to make an example of me. and I was scared. I knew that. So I had to really find that place of acceptance, dude. And look at my life and throw myself at the mercy of the courts and just put one foot in front of the other. And I just started working on me, dude. And luckily I got a lot of letters. I got certified in like CPR and breathwork meditation, drug and alcohol counselor.
So when I got sober, I didn't think I was going to be sober. I never had 10 years though. You know what I mean? I never had 10 years. I was never a pillar of 12-step. So I really wasn't. And I kind of really am enjoying the program right now. Like
Right.
for real. When you are in that situation and they're saying this guy could actually be a great beneficial person in the universe, are you ready to make the psychic change again, or are you feeling resistant?
No, I wouldn't say resistant. Man, that egomaniac with inferiority complex comes up again and again, man. It's like, I never know if I have what it takes, man. I never know if I can do it again or do it better. And, I get ideas, man. I get ideas. Back then I had an idea. I thought I knew, okay, yeah, I'll work in rehab. That'll keep me safe and protected. And I'll do this and I'll do that, but, like I really had no clue at that point, and I like to have no clue every day, dude. Today, I like to wake up and I like to do that set aside prayer, man, that I need a new experience today, a new experience of myself, a new experience of others, a new experience of my brokenness, a new experience of my recovery, and a new experience with God. Yesterday's experiences won't feed me. Yesterday's food doesn't feed me. I need to connect on a deeper level every day. And for me, that requires a lot of letting go of anything that I think I know, or any choices or just desired outcomes that I may have, because I feel like those desired outcomes or those choices on how anything is supposed to look bite me in the ass, dude. And it's not until I'm in the back of a freaking cop car that I realize that they bit me in the ass. I get so dead set and so cocksured on thinking I know what's right, or I know how anything is supposed to go. And when I find that place of real surrender, man, it has so little to do with my drinking and using it. It has everything to do with my thoughts and my feelings. If I can align my thoughts and my feelings with a greater good, with the utmost surrender, and to what I like to remind myself every day, to embrace the mystery, embrace the mystery, man, and to be a part of and to go with this flow of the adventure, then I usually don't find myself dead set, cocksured, or let down, feeling lost or confused, because I never had any personal preference. I stay out of the results, and everything just kind of goes amazing.
It's you're talking about a spiritual answer, like a spiritual program, and it sounds like you take it incredibly seriously, and it's required every day. That's the craziest part. It is required every day. I was at a meeting the other day, and there, the chapter in the book about the family, and that the prospector that's mining, and how we can hit this unlimited load as long as we keep doing the work and as long as we keep giving all the profits away, but then we can still benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, it sounds like that's where you're at, and it sounds like that's how you're benefiting. Like, what's the dream? Like, what, or you're letting the mystery be. You're like, fuck it. Today's a good day.
Yeah. The dream is, I'm actually currently I'm working on boundaries, and because for so long I've been so scared of becoming an egomaniac again without realizing. I've been so scared of having preferences or desired outcomes or a framework on how anybody or anything is supposed to go, that I've like let go of everything, you know? So now I'm like, okay, it's actually, now I actually have to work on boundaries or standing up for what is right, like for the group, not by me, but like, you know what I mean? Like Sponsy wants to smoke weed and work the steps, you know? It's like, you know, I've been so in a state of sweet reasonableness. I'm like, hey, okay, I don't know how that's supposed to go. You know, maybe I'll keep loving you anyway. Because I'm scared to be like, nope, that's not right. This is what's right. This is how it has to go. So I demolished the structure, so to speak, down to zero. And I'm now working on like healthy desires and having some kind of structure based in like the collective consciousness and what is inherently good or for the greater good type stuff.
Right. Would you take someone through the steps who's smoking weed at this point?
No.
Right.
The steps are designed to introduce somebody to a spiritual experience, being completely free of mind and mood altering chemicals.
Right.
You know,
and it's like
it doesn't take, man. It's like wanting to taste grandma's perfect secret recipe pie. Like I remember grandma's pie. It was so good. My mouth watered. It was like, oh my gosh. And I want to experience that bliss. I want to relive that like grace and that, oh my gosh, that childhood freedom. And like, I can feel the summer day, the beating on my skin and the smell of the water from the hose of grandma's pie. But I want to do her recipe, but I'm just going to leave out the apple. You know, it's like, dude, it's not going to work. You know, it just won't.
And more. Yeah. Right. For me, it's like, all right, you want to get high, you want to smoke pot and work the steps. It's like, great, find someone to do it because I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, good luck. I hope it goes well. You know, like I want people. Yeah.
I want everybody to be happy, joyous, and free. I want everybody to experience fullness in their life. And I can't with weed. And if other people can, I think that's rad. I'm actually stoked for them. I'd be stoked if I could too.
Me too.
So yeah, it's just not how it was given to me, not how my sponsorship family does it or believes in it. And I'm not going to remix the recipe.
No, I have a similar thing. I just looked up Lonnie and this story came out like last week that they found her in the street, totally, homeless, destitute, in trouble. And, what a terrible story. And I saw on your Instagram, like someone mentioned it to you, like Lonnie's out there and it's your fault, like basically. And it's like, so how do you carry that?
You know, I blame myself for a long time. I really thought for a long time that it was my fault because I was ill-informed. I was under the delusion that we were fine. We were doing good. She was just insecure. And it wasn't until I saw some of those early pictures that she was homeless because her friends were reaching out to me and saying, you got to help her. You got to help her. And I was like, this is like my lawyer said, I've been doing this for 30 years. If you ever talk to that woman again, you're going to end up in prison. I've gone over her history. I've seen her criminal record. I've heard the audio recording she made. I know who she is. I know who you are. And these women will not rest until guys like you are in prison. Because if they can't have you, nobody will have you. And that scared the shit out of me. And it broke my heart because I was losing my everything. So therefore I had nothing, which is what sent me into a downward spiral for sure, because she had become my God. But I did a lot of work on it, letting go of this relationship that I thought was perfect. But then when I continued to see her on the street, I was like, wait a minute. It's like I could see the dirt on her arm from like the tape. You know how like you remove that tape, you go to the hospital and you take the tape off. I was like, oh shit, she's been in and out of hospitals. This is real. This is not a hoax. This is real. And that's when it hit me. it didn't hit me until about 2 years after I hadn't seen her. It hit me. Oh my gosh. She was actually fully slipping from mental health. Those were real psychosis, psychiatric issues. It wasn't a little bit of insecurity. It wasn't a little bit of trauma. This is like real stuff. And at first I was really relieved, like, oh my God, it wasn't all my fault. Like I didn't fail her as a husband. There was nothing I could have done to keep those pieces together. Maybe, just maybe, this would have happened to her years before had I not been around there to clean up all the messes. Oh my gosh, what a freaking, what a weight that was. Like, boom, holy shit. I was so crazy that didn't even realize how crazy she was. Holy shit. That I never could have carried her on my back. And of course I tried really hard. I had like a camera crew and a professional intervention team, because there's only one way to do that. There's only one way to help her, and that's to get her taken against her will by a psychiatric evaluation team, and to get her 5250, which is an 8-day hold, and medicated, sedated, hydrated with antipsychotics. And after full stabilization and medication, taken against her will, kicking and screaming, sorry, you got to leave your shopping cart. Like, she's not going to go willingly. People have already tried. I can't go out there and club her over the head and drag her to a cave and stand there while she kicks dope. And I don't know what people expect me to do or want me to do, but it's a really involved process that costs probably $100,000 to $200,000. I mean, she needs about a year of care, from psychiatric care to aftercare to outpatient care. I mean, she needs therapy, she needs medication, she needs a lot of stuff that I can't do I don't have the money for that. And, I didn't even have enough money to throw 200 grand at that problem in my heyday. It comes in, it goes out faster than it comes in, kind of thing. But I was really working hard with a media outlet to procure free treatment for her in exchange for publication, get this whole thing covered. And I still have some potential opportunities for that. Although a lot of them canceled because it was done unsuccessfully already by somebody else. Somebody else already tried to help her and she denied the help.
Right.
It's sad that people want to blame me, like as if because I lost my temper one night with her and threw a beer bottle through the TV and yelled at her, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" That I sent her into this downward spiral. It's amazing how narrow-minded and how people like to blame and cast blame. However, I've been so blind in my life. I've been proven so wrong. I've been under so many wrong assumptions. I've been so sure of things that I have no room to cast any judgment on people who are thinking one thing. Luckily today, which, things like this haven't always been the case, I can take solace and peace that I know today my side of the street is clean. Today I'm not hurting anybody, and that I didn't do the things that I'm being blamed for, and that I don't have any axes to grind or crosses to bear with that. If I can be of help, I would be. However, it's not an overnight matter or something I can just snap my fingers and make it go away. Would I like everybody to, join together and put together a bunch of money to help her? That'd be freaking amazing. Do I feel the need to save her like I used to? Absolutely not. Am I happy that she's filthy and covered in piss and shit so no one rapes her? Definitely not. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, no matter how dirty she did me. Nobody deserves to live like that. And am I totally okay with people going off on a tangent about me? Absolutely, dude. Like, say what it would deeply bother me if I had something to hide. If I had some guilt left in me, it would really bother me. But I've let go of those,
Right.
that pride and that ego, that sense of self-esteem or security. Do I need everybody to know what I did and how hard I tried in order for me to be okay? Absolutely not. I can be okay right here, right now, even if everybody doesn't agree on it, because I know, God knows, my sponsor knows. Did I have ambitions, high ambitions for that? Yeah. Am I still called to be okay here and now, today, even though it didn't go my way? And am I called to look at how, my ambitions were not met and I was not okay for a long time, and how important it is for me to be okay anyway now today? Yes. They gotta have a process for all that stuff, because without it, I'm just as batshit crazy as I've ever been, dude.
Totally. And it's powerlessness, you know what I mean? And you just need to keep doing your thing. And it's rough, but your story is like a fucking gold mine, a labyrinth of insanity and meth and GHB and recovery. And I really appreciate you hanging in there with us. And I really appreciate your time, man. It's like, and like, fuck it, you're fucking in the public, and people have nothing better to do than to fuck with you because they think you have it coming, and it's not fair. So I think you're working a very nice program from my vantage point, and I support you, and I really appreciate what you had to say.
Brother.
All right, cool.
Well, if I'm the best thing people have to do with their day, then I'm honored, and I hope they find better things than me. But
I know you're going to be at the It's All Bad-a-Palooza coming up. You have to say hey to them from me, and I love having you on, man. And if you're ever in New York, you got to give a call.
Thanks.
All right, you ever come out east?
I will. Same with you in California, dude.
All right, cool, man. Thanks, Jeremy.
If you want to shop, if you want to help me shop the book, feel free.
Yeah, you wrote a book?
No, we're gonna write it whenever you're ready,
dude. It's an epic journey. It's an epic book, epic movie. You will sell it. Just fucking go slow and don't let your ego go fucking crazy. Don't. That's the whole thing. Pray for that humility on a daily basis with your head against the ground, and you got it. This story's incredible.
I pray just like that. I get out of bed and I put my head against the ground, dude.
Me
all
too.
the way down.
Me too. I do the same exact thing. Dude, the book will sell. I totally believe in you. And if I can help, you got my number. If I can help, fucking give me a shout.
I don't know any writers, man. I'm just out here working out in Orange County.
You want me to find a writer to work with? Because I know some writers.
Dude, if you want to get with it, let's get with it.
All right. I'll talk to my friend. It's done.
I need believers.
I'm a believer. For sure. I'm a believer.
Likewise, bro. I appreciate your time, dude.
I don't know. That's fucking as dopey as it gets, as gnarly as it gets. Is there anything you'd like to plug before we go? Can I help you out with anything?
Yeah, I'd love for people to check me out on Instagram. It's at Jeremy Jackson Fitness. I'm super active on there. Any questions, any comments, any love, any support, any cool suggestions on groups I need to be a part of or follow so we can stay stronger, connected together, I'd appreciate it.
Nice. And you should come on to Dopey Nation too, and maybe you could teach me how to get fit, because that's the next level.
I'm in the gym right now, bro.
I know. I really need to figure that shit out. Like, that's my next thing I want to try to accomplish.
That's easy. I got you.
All right, cool.
The Dopey makeover.
Yeah, the Dopey Fitness Challenge. We've always wanted to do that.
Let's go.
Dopey Fitness Challenge. All right. Excellent. Very exciting. So at the end of every episode, we say, stay strong, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris.
Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and what?
Fucking toodles for Chris.
Okay.
All right. You have to say fucking toodles for Chris.
Toodles for Chris?
Yeah. Dude, thank you. Now, I didn't tell you at the beginning of the show. We started the show. Can you put me up to your ear? We're done.
Barely. It's okay.
We started the show. I started it with my friend Chris, a guy I met in rehab, and I had 4 months clean when we started. And we did the show for almost 3 years, and he relapsed and he overdosed on fentanyl and he died while we were making the show. So now and he always said toodles, and I hated it that he said toodles. So now we end every show with fucking toodles for Chris, because he always wanted me to say toodles. Yeah, so that's the story.
I love it.
Dude, I'll be in touch. For real. We'll do the Dopey Fitness Challenge. Thank you again. Be easy.
Peace. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm face down on the floor. Dopey, you're second.
Dopey.